I'm striving to get rich. That's why I always went 2 years without buying shoes and fits. Things change now. My mom hearing me with my music and she look a little proud.
Yo, what's up, world? Welcome back to the channel. APWSPORTS signing in. And the 2021 NFL schedules have came out. I know I'm a little bit late on this video. I just had some other stuff I've been dealing with. But it's time to review the Bears 2021 regular season schedule. But before I give my thoughts on this, make sure you guys leave this video a like. That only helps the channel to grow. And if you are a first-time viewer, go ahead and click that subscribe button and click the notification bell so you will not miss any of the football videos that I post. And also follow me on social medias, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all APW Sports. All will be linked in the description below as well. But let's get into this Bears schedule review. Week 1 Sunday Night Football, we have the LA Rams. Now the LA Rams come in minus Jared Goff and add Matthew Stafford, a guy that we've been dealing with for all of his career with Detroit. You bring in back that Rams #1 defense, even though it's missing some pieces that they had in the secondary last year. A lot of those guys moved on to different organizations. Is this Rams team Super Bowl bound? And we will find out a lot about the Bears week 1, especially if Andy Dalton is a starter or if miraculously something happened. Justin Fields starts week 1. What a way to start the season with the LA Rams in LA. What a way to start the season. But I think it will give the Bears a true test to see where they really are at the beginning of the year versus whether or not if they were playing somebody that was not very good. So I think it's a true test for this Bears team week 1. Week 2, we have Cincinnati at home. First home game of the year is Cincinnati. Joe Burrow back healthy. They pair him with Jamar Chase. Even though I still think the offensive line of Cincinnati needs to be addressed. Defensively, you still have a little bit of some holes back there as well. But this Bears team should be coming in and really getting after Joe Burrow. With Khalil, Mack, and Quinn, hopefully he's more productive this year. And the linebacker position with Smith and Teven. Hopefully the Bears come into that game ready. First home game, we get fans back at Soldier Field, something we didn't have at all last season. So week 2, Cincinnati. Week 3, we stay in the AFC North, and we get the Cleveland Browns at Cleveland. Now, you're starting to get to notice a pattern about the Bears schedule. Home, away, home, away, home, away. I don't like that. But anyway, you get Cleveland, Baker Mayfield, and you get to very much improved Browns team with Jadeveon Clowney back on defense. Defense is healthier. Myles Garrett back healthy. You still have the best running back duo, I think, in the NFL, like Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. You get Odell back healthy. Baker Mayfield's been playing some really solid football. And this Browns team, I think it's another team that the Bears have to worry about. In our first 3 weeks of the season, you have the Rams, Cincinnati, and Cleveland. You can see a 2-1 start, maybe 1-2 start there, depending on how things go as far as the quarterback position go. But Cleveland is another tough test. Week 4, we get our first division game of the year. We get Detroit at home. Detroit is in rebuild mode. Detroit is just in pure rebuild mode. Jared Goff is now the quarterback. You minus Kenny Golladay. You minus Marvin Jones Jr. This Detroit team still has a long way to go, and almost minus Desmond Trufant as well. He's back here with us. So this Detroit team, new head coach Dan Campbell, but it's in clear rebuild mode. Clear rebuild mode. That should be a win. Then we get the Raiders in Vegas, and Khalil Mack gets another revenge game against his former team. John Gruden, we're not sure what that offense is going to look like. If they make a trade for Aaron Rodgers or not, we're not going to know. But assuming that they don't, Derek Carr is there. The Raiders offense, I don't feel is necessarily there yet. Derek Carr still has a lot to prove. This offense still has a lot to prove. Defensively, they have to get better at the secondary spot. So Vegas, although they can be one of those games that the Bears can slip up and lose, I just don't think the Raiders right now have a roster that can compete with the Bears roster. So I think that could be a win. Then the first game of the season against those damn Green Bay Packers. Hopefully Aaron Rodgers ain't there. But I don't think he's going to get traded, but that's just my opinion. Aaron Rodgers is there. Always tough for the Bears against Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers has some of his best games against the Bears, so that's going to be another tough matchup. And let's just face it, Aaron Rodgers has had the Bears number for quite some time. So if he's there and he's healthy and he's got all his weapons, it's going to be another tough matchup for the Bears, even though I think the Bears are way much improved, especially offensively from last year. Another tough test. Green Bay brings back a solid defense. Jair Alexander is one of the best corners in football. That could be a toss-up game as well. Next, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the defending Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We beat them last year at home on Thursday night. We were one of the teams that beat them, and that was our only victory over a team that finished over 500 last season, was that win on Thursday night against Tampa. Tampa Bay brings back all of this roster pretty much. Everybody is back. Brady, Fournette, Brown, Godwin, David, all of those guys are back into the defending champs. So, of course, you're going to have your hands full there with that Buccaneers team. So, that is going to be another game that is going to be a toss-up in that particular season. This next game against San Fran. San Fran, we don't know what they're going to look like. We don't know if Jimmy G is going to stay healthy. We know that defense is very, very good, but it all remains to see what San Fran looks like at the quarterback position, especially if Jimmy G is able to stay healthy. They do have Kyle Shanahan, who's one of the better offensive minds in the NFL, and you have that run game that is very, very good. It's been proven to help that team carry to a Super Bowl and almost win one in 2019. San Francisco is another tough test and another tough game for the Bears. Could Justin Fields be starting by then? I mean, we don't know. We don't know. Could Justin Fields be the starter by then? I think that may be the borderline game that he could start, but we'll have to see where that goes. So that's another good game. And then our next game, Monday Night Football against those Pittsburgh Steelers on the road in Pittsburgh. Now, the Bears historically have been playing very well against Pittsburgh as in recent years. Last time in 2017, beat them in overtime. I think this Pittsburgh Steelers team has lost a lot. Bud Dupree is now gone. James Conner is now gone. They do replace him with Nagy Harris, which I think they could have used more on defense. Maybe. But you have Big Ben, but he's getting old. So we're not sure what this Pittsburgh Steelers team is going to look like, especially with all they lost. Even though head coach Mike Tomlin, personally, my favorite coach in the NFL, just to be honest with you guys, I am a Mike Tomlin fan. I would love if the Bears was coached by him, to be honest. I'm a Mike Tomlin fan. I love how he brings his troops together. Never had a losing season in Pittsburgh either. So despite all the Pittsburgh has lost, that is a team that you still have to be reckoned with when you have Mike Tomlin leading the charge. The next week is our bye week of the year, so skip past that. The very next week, we stay in the NFC North for our last matchup in that division as we facing the Baltimore Ravens led by Lamar Jackson, one of the more dynamic quarterbacks in the league as far as the running goes. I think he needs to improve a little bit more as a passer. They had to get more weapons around him, of course. That defense in Baltimore is still one of the best defenses, and that historically defensive franchise, just like us, that defense is still very good. Patrick Quinn had an amazing season last year. You have Marcus Peters, even though I think he's overrated. He can create turnovers on that defensive side of the ball. Running game led by J.K. Dobbins from the Ohio State University. I had to throw that in there. But you do get Sammy Watkins there. And I really feel this Baltimore Ravens team is going to be another tough matchup for the Bears, especially with the offense. The running game has to be going in that game to keep Lamar Jackson and that running game off the field. So another tough matchup, Baltimore. The very next week, we get our second game against the Detroit Lions. Like I said earlier, another team that's in rebuild mode, and that could be a victory. The next week, we have a tough matchup against the Arizona Cardinals, bringing A.J. Green in, bringing J.J. Watt in. And you have Kyler Murray, who's another dynamic quarterback at the running spot that you have to face. Chase Edmonds has been proven really productive. We got to cover DeAndre Hopkins in this game. We definitely have to cover DeAndre Hopkins. Christian Kirk is another solid receiver. Like I said, A.J. Green. Defensively, you're going to have Chandler Jones back to pair with J.J. Watt, so that is another dynamic pass rush duo. Buda Baker is one of the better safeties in the NFL. So this Cardinals team is a handful. It's going to be a handful, and they're in a stacked division in the NFC West where they're going to have to bring it every week, and this is another week where they're going to bring it. So it's going to be another tough matchup for the Bears, and they have one of the hardest schedules in the league. The Bears have one of the hardest schedules in the league, so it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. And then the very next week, we get those damn Green Bay Packers again. Hopefully, like I said, Aaron Rodgers isn't there. Hopefully, Aaron Rodgers is not there. But Green Bay is always tough. Green Bay is always a game that they have our number for some odd reason, no matter how good the season can be. Especially when Aaron Rodgers there, they've had our number. But next we get Minnesota. For the first time this year, we get the Vikings, and I'm not sure what they're going to look like defensively, even though they bring Patrick Peterson in. Offensively, what version of Kirk Cousins are you going to get? Dalvin Cook is an absolute amazing running back. Justin Jefferson had an amazing rookie season. Adam Thielen is very productive and has been very, very steady in that offense. But are you going to get good Kirk? Or are you going to get bad Kirk? And it's a primetime Monday Night Football game. So which Kirk Cousins are you going to get in that matchup? We don't know. You got to wait and see. I'm still not a fan of that Vikings defense right now, to be honest. Something that the Bears can take advantage of. We'll see how that goes. But, hey, it's a division game, so it's always going to be tough. But the next week, we have Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks. I wish he could have been a Bear. But we got Justin Fields, so I'm not going to complain about that. But Russell Wilson and that Seahawks offense is always a scary threat, even though I still don't think that offensive line is fixed. Defensively, I don't think that's really fixed too much either, especially getting after the passer. You have Quadre Diggs back there with... So, I'm not a believer in the Seahawks defense, and I'm not a believer in the Seahawks offensive line. But when you have Russell Wilson, who is able to attack deep, and I think he's the most accurate deep passer in the NFL, the Seahawks are always going to be a threat. So the Seahawks are always going to be a threat. And week 17, not the last week of the season like it usually is, we have the New York Giants. Daniel Jones, I think it's a make-or-break year for him. You get Saquon back healthy. You do bring in Kenny Golladay from Detroit. But we'll see how that Giants team is. They was almost a playoff team, even though the NFC East was god-awful last year. God freaking awful. But that defense, I think, is very, very much improved. Last year was a better defense. I think that defense is still very well. We'll see how Daniel Jones plays out in this contest. We'll see how he merges with Kenny Golladay and some of the other weapons that they brought in, along with Sterling Shepard. But we will have to see about this New York Giants team. And in the very last week of the year, we have the Minnesota Vikings. The Minnesota Vikings, like I said, we don't know what version of Kirk Cousins we're going to get. Is either good Kirk or bad Kirk. Kind of like Rex Grossman. Good Rex, bad Rex. Jay Cutler, good Jay, bad Jay. Mitch Trubisky, good Mitch, bad Mitch. We don't know which one we're going to get. We don't know which one we're going to get. But my record prediction for the Bears, seeing as we have, coming into the year, the third toughest schedule in the NFL. My record prediction for the Bears, I will see somewhere between, I would say 9-8 or 10-7, maybe 11-6. I don't see the Bears getting more than 11 wins. I'm just going to be brutally honest. I don't see this Bears team winning more than 11 games. I just don't. Now, if something miraculous happens offensively, then great. But my history with Matt Nagy and his play calling ability and his inability to run the football, I don't see how this Bears team gets more than 11 wins. And I think the most likely of scenarios, the Bears are 10-7. I hate to be one of those downers or something like that, but I don't see this Bears team winning more than 11, and I think 10-7 or 9-8, I think is the best possibility that we go, especially if the offense isn't fixed and doesn't come together. Now, it might be a little bit too early for these predictions and my thoughts on that, but I don't think this Bears team is winning more than 11 games. I just don't. 10-7, I think, is the best scenario, especially if Aaron Rodgers is still in the division. The Bears are 10-7. But that's my thoughts on the Chicago Bears 2021 schedule. The Bears are going to go 10-7. Make sure you guys leave this video a like to help this channel to grow. And if you have gotten to this point in the video and you are not subscribed, go ahead, click that subscribe button and click that notification bell so you would not miss a single video. But this is APW Sports signing out. Make sure you guys stay safe. Have a great and excellent day. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.